everybody. Welcome at the industry meeting. So we're going to talk about short films on the web. Short films on the web is quite a new thing in a weird way, because online has been around for a while. YouTube has been around for 10 years, but still putting your short film online is quite a new trend, which is really undergoing a lot of change. Before, people usually waited for around at least 2 years, because that's the amount of time you would use to send your films to film festivals, because film festivals usually wanted exclusivity. They didn't want to have the films online already when they could screen it. But the last couple of years, this is really changing, because film festivals can't really deny the potential that the internet has for short films and the importance it has. There are a lot of viewers who watch films online if you compare it to how many people see the films at a film festival. So film festivals are starting to adapt to this, changing their regulations, except for some of the bigger A festivals and bigger national festivals. Most short film festivals at least now accept films if they are already online. So what about short films on the web? You can put your film online and reach a potential audience of millions, like I just said. But even though you can put your film online and there are millions of people able to watch it, I don't think the internet is really as democratic as we would hope to be. It was, and there's still a strategy needed to get your film seen online. So like festivals offline, to get your film seen, people often still rely on people making a selection. So if you have a short film, you really hope for Vimeo staff pick, for instance. You hope to be part of an online film festival like Sundance has, or like South by Southwest started this year, or to be featured on a website like Short Film of the Week. VIS posts short films regularly, or for instance Zeit Online, like Ute will talk about later on. So the audience still need an expert telling you this is a good film, you should watch this. Except if you have a cat film, then everybody will watch it. And for instance, if you're a well-established filmmaker like Don Hertzfeldt, the filmmaker in Focus this year, or for instance David O'Reilly, who was in Focus here 2 years ago, they already have a big audience connected to their film. So if they post a new film online, there's already a lot of people going to watch it. I think David O'Reilly really works really well with this. His short films premiered at Berlinale and at Locarno, and then directly after that, like a month later, he put it online, and still he won lots of awards and got lots of festival selections. So he's quite good in that. So another aspect I think which makes it not as democratic as we would hope it would be, is that not every film is suitable to be viewed online. I think I have an attention span of like 4 minutes. I think if I watch a film from beginning to end, so putting a short film of 40 minutes online, I don't think that will really work. So what short films work well online, I think we'll talk about that today. And how do you get people to share it on social media and get loads of views. So the topics I want to talk about today is how you're able to reach your potential audience, what films work best online, and is there maybe even a way to make a little money from it. We will be talking about that, about VOD. So I hope to get all these questions answered. And if anybody from the audience has a question, just raise your hand and we'll get to you. And I think now we can start off with like a short introduction of every panel member, just telling briefly who you are and what part short films online play in your job. So Daniel, do you want to start?
Hello everyone. My name is Daniel Deák and I'm from Budapest, Hungary, so not from really far. And we have a free-to-view VOD platform. It's called dazo.com. And I will explain later how does it work. It's a quite simple system, and it's connected to a distribution system as well. And we also have a film festival in Budapest, an international short film festival, and we publish World of Shorts magazine, which is a publication for the major short film festivals. Actually, I think it's the only English paper which covers the short film sections of the large film festivals. There are general articles and tips and tricks about short films. So please take one and have a read.
Hello, I'm Ute Brandenburger. I'm coming from Zeit Online, which is the digital sister publication of the weekly news magazine Die Zeit in Germany. And we are showing short films since more than 3.5 years on our online platform. And the reason for that is why that we thought it might be a quite perfect fit between our audience and the short film scene. And we thought it might be quite good to widen also the spectrum, the audience for short films. That were the main reasons. And since that, we had made a lot of experiences with length of short films and also topics of short films which are suitable for a broader audience.
Hello, my name is Rudi Kopzer. I'm from Vienna, from Austria. My background is advertising since more than 27 years now. So I'm coming from the 20 seconds TV commercial, while you're coming from the long movies and say, well, 3 minutes are too short. For us, 3 minutes are very long for us advertisers. And I started with my partner, Sandra Thier, who is coming from television, was 10 years with RTL in Germany. I started 1.5 months ago a project called Diego 5 Studios. Diego 5 because the first online spot was reloaded on YouTube 2005 in San Diego. So that's why we called ourselves Diego 5 Studios. And what we have two business fields. On the one hand, we are offering branded entertainment for clients. So we are offering short stories, short movies, which we can talk today, for advertisers, marketers. And on the other hand, the second field is that we are at the moment building the first YouTuber network in Austria, where we are collecting the individual YouTubers who are content creators themselves, who are doing short films on a weekly basis, and we are grouping them so that we can offer, we can coach them, we can develop them, we can target better to target groups. So we are kind of management for these creators with the goal to get more views, more subscribers, and also to monetize, which we can talk on later. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, hello. My name is Gerald Weber from sixpackfilm. We are also based here in Vienna, in Austria. Sixpackfilm is a distributor for Austrian shorts, documentaries, independent produced films. We are more kind of a classic distributor in the sense of we do all forms of distribution, starting with festivals, cinema, TV, and online. Online means we are working with several platforms, VOD platforms. Since 3 years, it's something which is still in an experiment process, I would say, but something which is growing. Still, I think, concerning economic possibilities for short films, it's a field which has some potential upwards. Yeah, so we can talk about all these questions later on.
Hello, my name is Amelio Nicotera and I'm from MUBI Germany. I'm the country manager for MUBI Germany, and we offer in our model of 30 films, in the middle 2 short films each month. So yeah, we are video on demand platform, subscription video on demand platform. So you have to first have a subscription and then you can enjoy 30 titles. They are curated, at least in Germany. In some countries they are, in some countries they aren't. And yeah, that's it.
So the first topic I would like to talk about is finding your audience, and I wanted to start with you, Daniel. So the mic is coming back to you. So on your website of Dazoo, you have the main activity is formulated as finding new ways to deliver short films to a wider audiences. And can you tell us what those ways are?
There are several ways. Our case is quite special in terms of being very innovative and then being very classical at the same time. So we founded Dazoo with my friend when we were at the university. We were very young and inexperienced, and we just realized that there was no chance to show the films at all. Of course, we made quite bad films, so we didn't really have the chance to be selected for big festivals. And after the festival circle, it was over. And it was before the age of YouTube, or at the beginning, around the beginning of the birth of YouTube. So it was around 2006, I guess. And even to show films to our friends was quite difficult. So that's why we created an online platform for it. And at the same time, we realized that okay, someone in Los Angeles does something very similar, so we should specify ourselves. And actually, that's been happening for a while. So we realized that it's not enough to be represented online, because for us in the short film universe, it's a quite small universe, but still there is something like this. Short films are the most important thing, and we can specify short films as an art form. But for the wider audience, or for the mass audience, it's just 5 minutes of something visual, moving pictures, cats, or animation, whatever. It's just something which we can watch on the internet, and they don't really see it as an artwork or as something which we can watch at film festivals as well. So we realized that there are some films which we can show online, and which, as you mentioned at the beginning, that there are good to be represented online, and there are other films which are better represented at festivals and at special screenings, for instance. And that's how I mean that we should find the right audience for the right films, because for some films it's just impossible to, for some audience it's just impossible to show some films. For instance, there are films at large festivals like Cannes or Berlin. Especially Berlin is quite special in this sense, because they have a quite special way of selecting films. And we had the chance to show some of the Berlinale shorts online, and we could make around 100 views for one film, even with this label of Berlinale shorts, because they were so special that without the context of Berlinale and the big festival and the curation, it was just not interesting for the audience.
And if I have a short film, so I make a short film and it's 30 minutes, I can put it online on Dazoo, and how does that work? Why would I put my film online on Dazoo?
If it's a good film, and
so there
if you
is
like
a selection.
No, everybody can upload anything, short films only, but inside the world of short films we take anything, and then we can highlight the best films, or the films we like, or the films we consider good films. And those films which we like, we can put it to our Facebook page. We can make a buzz around it. So it's it's a Vivid community, and we can show it to this Vivid community, and it will generate views and popularity for the film. And we also try to distribute it to other platforms, like we have agreements with third-party platforms, and we distribute some collections for them. And if a film fits to one of these collections, we can distribute them, and that means already money for the filmmakers because it's a revenue share model with them.
And you just mentioned that the Berlinale films, for instance, were special, but do you notice that certain films really work well? That get a lot of views? Like this type of film works really well online?
Yeah, but it's really changed since the beginning, because at the really beginning, around 2007-8, it was really impossible to show longer films than 5 minutes. Because of the bandwidth, because of the habit of being online, it was just no point to show them at all. But now we are experiencing that it's the people. It's a different. So it's quite difficult to define what online means right now. Does it mean our phone or our computer, our notebook, or our iPad, or our smart TV? So there are many platforms and screens where we can show the films, and each screens mean different way of filmmaking. For instance, on a phone, there is no point to show longer films than 2 minutes, because it would be just no point to watch on a very small screen. Yeah. But for instance, on a smart TV screen, which is huge and it's like normal television or DVD, you can watch even a 30-minute long film. It's okay. But otherwise, in general, on the computers, people spend more time and they are more patient, I would say, nowadays than it was before. So I think it really depends on the context and on the way of marketing, what people watch and what not.
Rudy, you make a lot of think from the concept till the marketing part of film. Do you also think about this part, what Daniel just mentioned, like how do people watch the films? Do they watch it on the telephone? Do they watch it on the TV? Do they?
I mean, of course, if you produce content or if you produce film, I think in these days you have always to think in the cross-connectivity of all the platforms. Yeah, so that's for 2 reasons of relevance. One is that the consumer is mobile, so the main driver of media is mobile in these days, and so whatever you do should be capable to watch at home and on tablets or on mobile. And the other thing is the more whatever we do in the digital world is an algorithm. So the more platforms are connected, on the more platforms you are, the better you're found. So that's why I say what you say. The first thing is that you're found in the universe of filming content where everyone is making movies in these days. So the search issue is something you should never forget when setting up movies in the digital world. Then the second thing is about inspiration. How good is your product to inspire? And the third thing is then how do you connect to make a long-term relationship? Because to make one hit wonder is something which is great, which is lovely, but in this crazy and broad world of millions of hours loaded up every day, I think it's important to have a connectivity and bonding to the viewer, so that you have a kind of either subscription or a bonding where everyone wants to see the next movie, the next story, the next part.
But I was speaking to a filmmaker that's in competition here yesterday, and he told me like, yeah, I make one film in 5 years. That's what I do. So if you're a filmmaker like that, you make one film in 5 years and you put it online. How do you get an audience then? Because that's really, if I hear your points, which you have to...
I mean, to be very true, that's not my business to make a movie every 5 years. My business is to connect brands with the consumers. In the old days, this was a commercial. In the new days, that's branded entertainment, how you call it. And even for the YouTubers we manage, for them it's something to build a relation like to a friend. And the best is to hear a good friend you want to hear once per week, to have a close relationship, because there are a lot of YouTube creators. So my business is more about bonding. But if you say every 5 years one movie, yes, I mean, if then this has to be treated separately, but this is not my business, I'm in.
And you work a lot with YouTube channels, and we were just looking for if there's something like that for short film. You think that if you would be part of like a channel or something, that would already be a way of connecting to an audience when you're a new filmmaker, for instance, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean, we talked before, I mean, for short films, and we were screening and were viewing on Google, and we were giving in the mask, we were saying independent films, and there are some channels, yeah, with high subscription numbers. We were seeing one with, I don't know, 170,000, which is a lot. But then when we watched the videos, it was, I think the average was 5,000 or something, yeah. So we are, from our side, we are distributing material with our YouTube creators. For example, in comedy, we have Bluefish Productions, who do lovely short-time sketches, pranks, whatever they do. They are 2 students, and they are producing on a regular basis, once per week, a short movie from them side, and the highest mark was 70,000. The average is about 3,000. So this is what you're in Austria are targeting, but which is fine, because imagine 70,000 people going into your cinema and watching your movie. So.
And Ute, with Site Online, so you're also showing short films. I went on your website and looked for the Kurzfilm tag, I think it was, and I also saw that you also did some Berlinale films this year. How did that work for you? Were there a lot of views, or was it also difficult content?
No, I think it always depends on the kind of film which we are selecting. And I'm handling the short films since 2 years, and I made rather a lot of experiences, because in the first time I thought, okay, short films, that fits perfectly with our audience, very much interested in films, culture, so on. And then after that, I recognized that it always depends on the kind of story which is told, that they're always, at least for our audience, there have to be short films with a story, with a strong protagonist, with a very controversial topic, with something which you can, as you said it, another way, where the viewers can have a bond with. So that's the most important thing. And then it's not so important whether the film is only 3 minutes or 20 minutes. So that was quite interesting for us, because in the beginning I had the assumption that films over 20 minutes or over 10 minutes might be the killing, might be really something which would not work out at all. But that's not really true. It always depends on how the film is made. That was my recognition. And then we have quite good views. We have the same kind of views as we reach with a very strong video from Top News. So we have the same ratings.
Yeah. And how do you present the films? Is it always like connected to a topic, something that happened recently, or is it just you put the film online and it has its own context with an article or something? Or
no, it's not. It does not always go together with an article. Normally, we show the films on Wednesday afternoons. We try to do that at least for half of the year on Wednesday afternoons, so that this is a kind of regular place where we show a new short film. And then the normal claim is that we connect it with a festival, because we do our selection in collaboration with the film festivals, because otherwise it would not be possible for us. Because we are quite small video department, and it would be impossible for us to do the selection on our own through the whole world of short filmmakers. We could not manage that, or we could manage that, but nothing else. So we have to collaborate with short film festivals, which we enjoy very much, and then we choose films in collaboration with them. Mostly the films are from the last years and not from the actual year. Yeah. And in some cases, they fit to a topic which occurs recently, but it's not always possible to have this perfect fit.
Yeah. And do you need exclusivity or anything if the film is already on YouTube? That doesn't.
No, we don't need exclusivity. As I said before, for us is the most important criteria: would this topic, would this film fit with our audience? And then it's also not necessary that the film goes to us directly after it has been produced. I mean, we don't have anything against that. We would be glad to be something like a premiere forum or something like that, but it's not necessary, because for us it's because there are not so many, how do you say, in German you would say Schnittmengen. I mean, the audiences of short film festivals and of our platform are not like this. Yeah. They don't cross so much. So it's not important whether it has been shown on a festival or whether it has been shown somewhere else in the internet.
And
sorry, but does it make a difference if a film is, for example, has been screened at the Berlinale? So does it have more viewers than other films? Or is
not
it
always.
The same average?
No, just as Daniel said before, the sign. This is a film which were formerly on the Berlinale or another festival, is not decisive for the how many views the film get. It's not the most decisive criteria. It's really the topic and how the film is made. And I've seen that all the films which are really very arty and very experimental and very long and experimental and arty would not fit at all with our audience. So that is one decision which or what I've seen. It's a kind of experience. Although I would love only to show experimental films, but it wouldn't work out with our audience, so there's no use of doing it.
And how does your audience connect to that? Because your audience is quite...
it's very important for us, and short films work very well, but our audience is very cinephile, so they are very connected to all the festivals and following all the festivals, so if we have the label Berlinale, then we get more views.
Yeah, because you also have a Berlinale selection right now, right? At least in MUBI in the Netherlands, it's a Berlinale selection.
Okay,
right now,
yeah. But for example, in Germany, we are not allowed. It's also a license issue, because we had a collaboration with Berlinale Shorts, but all the countries besides Germany could show the titles. So it's also, again, a license issue. Yeah.
But from what side, a license issue? Is it not allowed by the Berlinale or by?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think, do you see a difference between the people watching the short films and the feature films? Is it like a same kind of amount, or are there a lot less people watching the short films?
It depends, but usually more people want to watch a short film because it doesn't take much time. And in the middle, I can tell you, for example, in Germany, the users watch a lot of films. 30 are offered, and in the middle, like 4 or 5 films are watched by each user. And short films have a good quote in this relation.
Okay, that's good. So we're moving a bit more into the VOD part, the video on demand. Gerald, like you just said, Sixpack is experimenting with offering the films online. You're shifting to VOD with Flimit. How do you decide which films are suitable for VOD? Because Sixpack has quite experimental films as well.
I mean, we collaborate with various platforms. One is MUBI as well. So we have, for example, Peter Czakaski or Kurt Gren films on MUBI International since 2010, and they have a very good revenue. So that I would say that's the highest which we get in return for our films. So our main interest is to use VOD in the same way like we work with other channels, with television or cinemas, whatever. So our idea is that something should be paid for the films, and of course, I mean, we all know that short film making is not a economic business in that sense, and mainly short films are seen as a niche within, let's say, the whole audiovisual production or film production, and it's the same in VOD. So you realize that the big names, they are seen, so people watch them and pay for that, and of course the less known names, they're less seen. And with Flimit we made this collaboration 2013. We started to first with the documentaries and later with short films, and we have a film of the month each month, which is then for free, and it's pretty interesting experience that even if it's a short film, it's watched during that month, but after that you don't find any more viewers for that. So
and do you try to push the less well-known films with the film?
Yeah, we try.
And does that work, or like you said, afterwards?
Yeah, I think it's more or less the same numbers every month. So maybe there's a kind of a community already watching for that films. What we try is also to use our label, a Sixpack Film, to keep those films visible on those platforms. So we have a channel on Flimit, we have a channel on Realize, which helps us to promote our films, but which doesn't automatically mean that those films are seen there more often just because it's a Sixpack Film, because even as a label, Sixpack Film is mainly known within a certain scene, but not, let's say, in a broad world.
And how do the filmmakers think about it? Because a lot of the filmmakers Sixpack is working with are quite format bound, like it's a 35mm film or it's a 16. How do they feel about putting the film online and being watched on a telephone, maybe?
Good question. And that changed in the years. So when we got the first offers by DA Films, for example, the Dog Alliance Films, which is based in Prague, focusing on documentary and experimental films. Most of our filmmakers were very hesitating about putting their films online. So they say they're not made for that kind of screen. Everyone has in mind the small screen, the telephone or the computer. But as we all know, devices, so the technical development changed, so it doesn't necessarily mean that someone watching a film online watches just on a small screen, but he can have a huge beamer, and if it's an HD thing, I mean, it can be a very good quality. And I think with that changes also the point of view of the filmmakers changed towards to be more open with that kind of promotion.
And is there, like, are there certain ways you think, besides putting the label Sixpack on it, in which you can still find even more people watching the films? Because when I was going on the Flimit website, there's like such a huge number of films on it, and it's really hard to find what should I watch? Like MUBI, I really like that tactic of just having 2 short films in the 30 films online, and so you only have those films to choose from. Is there like a strategy you notice that works really well for the films? Are they?
I mean, this what I just mentioned, this film of the month, that's something which works well in that sense, and we are trying out with Flimit now to make kind of special programs out of our films. So to offer something like a curated program, because as you said, for someone who is not knowing all these films, so where to start? Even if you think if in a broader sense, to take the whole program of Flimit, I mean, if you don't have a clue what you can expect, you will never stop there. So you will.
And you just told me before that you're still holding on to the leaving the films, like you put the films on VOD that are a bit older, because you also go through the festival route before. How would you feel if a filmmaker would want to put his film online directly when it's made? Is that a problem for Sixpack, or is that?
No, not at all. I mean, we have even one video. It was shown here last year, MeTube, and that was made originally for YouTube. And but it was a huge success on festivals, for example. So I had about 300 festival invitations. But of course, you can't sell that video to a TV station. It's impossible. No one takes it. So if you think in a certain economic ideas also about selling films, then you have sometimes keep some rules, or you don't, and of course then you have other possibilities to get viewers, but then you're in the middle of the internet.
So putting it online would mostly be something you wouldn't do because of the financial side, you would say. That's sales.
I think it's a decision of the filmmaker. If I think it's different models of to bring your film around. So it's,
and then about MUBI again, because you don't select that many short films. How do you select the films you're screening when it's not like festival based?
Yeah, a good question, because we focus on festivals through the years, and if not, it's more like to have a feeling how if it is a nice selection, a selection which offers from every genre special titles. I don't know how to put it. Yeah, there is no rule in it to say I don't know. Sometimes it's also about news. For example, a director is working on something and you want to remind the people about it. We also have the Notebook. It's a film magazine online, and Daniel Kassman, our chief editor, covers a lot of the big festivals, or all of the big festivals. So sometimes there is also a relation between the Notebook and what we are showing on MUBI. Something like that. Yeah, there is no special.
But how do you get the films? Do you actively scout for films and buy them, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes we get contacted, and then we, if we are interested in the content, then we close a deal. Can be about 2 films, can be about 200 titles. There is also no rule in it. It must be interesting content. And talking about exclusivity, that would also be an advantage. For example, we show the online premiere of Love Diaz, the 5 hours title, the Locarno winner from last year. So, and we built a story around it, because we have a page, Discover page on MUBI, because MUBI also works as a social media. You can see ratings from people you are following or you are followed by, and you can write small reviews under the films. And in this Discover section, there is also something special always where you can click on, where we promote like a title or a short film, whatever. Yeah.
And you said that in some countries you don't have to curate it.
Right.
thing. Is there a difference between like how many films people watch, or is it like different films people watch?
Usually in a non-curated country we have less subscribers. That's the reason why it's non-curated. And then we also have less views. But sometimes more shorts, because it's more like, it's run by an algorithm in the end.
Are there maybe questions from the audience at this point? Yeah. If there are criteria for curation.
Taste. I don't know. It's, as I said before, sometimes it's depending on which festival is taking place right now. And if not, it's about making a nice, interesting, different selection. Yeah.
But do you know, which means that you know all the films which are offered on MUBI?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my job.
Nice.
It's always 30 titles, so I have to know all the 30 titles. If not, it doesn't make sense to offer you something I haven't seen. And there's also like a small 300 character space in curated countries where you get like our take and some more informations about the title. So if I wouldn't have seen it, it's
Yeah.
How many what? Sorry? Not too many, because we mainly work with distributors, but sometimes I get some mails. Yeah.
And is it possible really to send you just like watch this? Do you do that? Do you watch films, or do you only work with?
No, it's possible, but if we now promote it here, maybe tomorrow I will have 500 emails in my inbox, and I can't watch 500 shorts in the next month. But basically, it's possible. Yeah. In Germany, I do the curation, and in other countries. Yeah, I don't know. The acquisition is also managed in London, where our headquarters are. But in the end, it's very important if we are interested in a title or not, and I have to decide that. Yeah.
Okay, and then back to you, Rudy, again. So we talked a bit about making money through VOD, but your business works on YouTube. How is it possible to start generating money through views on that?
I mean, talking about monetarization, you have to see the two different areas separately. Yeah? One is the branded content area, which is to make branded short films for clients, yeah, as a connectivity from the old media world, from the classic media world. Give you an example. You have, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds about milk from the mountains, high organic, yeah. You have the room for 20 seconds, yeah. You have the room for 25 seconds, and you have high production value because the consumer who watches TV has a certain understanding how it has to look and feel, and you have a limited media budget to put the pressure into the market in certain times. Yeah, on the same time, the same amount, the consumer is using more and more media because he's using all the digital platforms. So the media consumption in these days is higher than ever. So what all the brands need is now a kind of connectivity in the digital world to tell the whole story. To tell the whole story, why is it organic? From which agriculture of farms is this milk coming from? What can I do with this milk? So all the details which the YouTube generation grew up. I'm a part of the MTV generation, which was 3 minutes or 2 minutes, a video, a story, thank you. Yeah, my boys don't read so much, they consume much more video content, so they are much more used to get to know more, and they are used to look for more details behind. So coming back to you, that's why the demand of brands and companies is big in these days to tell longer stories. So that's one way of monetarization, to offer a conceptual, strategically and creative approach to tell stories for the brands in a longer way on a regular basis, and combine this content with distribution of content. So our business is not just producing, that's one part, but it's also strategy, platform strategy, and goes to targeting distribution. And distribution is, of course, the core is YouTube, but this has to do with search engine marketing, with search targeting, has to do with seeding, as we call it, to make partnerships with other media, has to do with social media, to put it onto Facebook, perhaps with sponsored ads. So the whole marketing issue is also one part, and in that whole chain, the monetarization for an agency is. So that's the part, branded entertainment, how we call it. The second part is managing the YouTubers, building a YouTuber network, which is also an area where the big boys and big companies in the world are going to.
Is the YouTubers, is that the audience or the people making the...
Managing the YouTube creators.
Okay. Yeah.
Creators, yeah. So there are big companies like Endemol or like Walt Disney in LA, who are more and more managing the YouTube creators, and who are trying to build a broad audience. And the more channels you have, the more subscribers you have, the more viewers you have, then you have two ways of making money. One is a share of advertising with Google, with YouTube, which means these are the ads, the pre-rolls, or the sponsored ads in the movie, or on the side banner when you see. So this is a way which is international, always the same with YouTube, where they have a share of the advertising sent out, and they give 55% to the agency, 45% Google keeps. So that's the advertising stuff. The other part is the content stuff, and here you're free to make content cooperation with clients. So this also, if you make, for example, cat videos, because we are watching here cat videos, and if you would be, I don't know, Whiskas, you could do a series of the cat Mimi and bring every week a show what Mimi is learning to know, for example. So you know what I mean?
I have to write this down.
Yeah. Mimi on travel. Yeah, Mimi and the cow, Mimi and the apartment, Mimi and the wool, Mimi at the film festival. So you know what I mean? And in this content, you can write products, you can write stuff, and this is another way of monetarizing. So these are the elements you play with. At the moment, to be very true, this is an experimental way, because we see the consumers going there, we see the audience going there. In Austria, we have 2.7 million people regular on YouTube, which is a lot, 2.7 million. We see that it's not anymore the young people only. We see that 77% are over 25. So it's more or less everyone. So, and these are all elements we are learning too. And of course, we all want to make money, but mainly it's about learning and understanding now the new way of usage of media from the viewers.
Yeah. And Ute, do you also know what kind of audience you have watching the short films? Is that mostly young people, or also a bit older? Because of course it's a news website, so you would expect a bit older audience probably.
No, we don't have it split up in age range or something like that. But what we knew in general about Site Online is that we have a lot of young people under between 18 and 25, and then we have another second group which is over 35, 40. So, and in between we also have, but the two groups which are mostly represented are the under 25 and the over 40s, something like that. And then we know about our viewers or our users normally which interests they share. They are very much interested in culture, films, architecture, ecology, something like that. But you can't really split it up with each film, so that you could say this short film worked out very well for persons under 25 which were male and like cars or something like that. That's not possible. But what we have and what we can also offer the filmmakers who are so courageous to give us their films via the festivals is that we can offer that they get feedback which they wouldn't get at all if they would not present it in the media world or on site online, because we also post the films on Facebook. Most of the times we also have a small article with that, and then we get a lot of comments and feedback which gives maybe another view on the topic of the film and how the film is made, and if people understood what the film wanted to say at all, which they wouldn't get on a festival, or because the audiences are so different.
But and is that the only thing a filmmaker gets to be screened, of course, on your website and the feedback, or does he also get like money for being included, or you don't pay for the rights?
We pay for the rights,
Okay.
but we arrange it via the festivals because we are not capable of managing the whole contacts with each filmmaker. So we manage it over the festivals and give a certain amount of license fees to the festivals, and the festivals can distribute it over all the filmmakers which contributed to our selection.
Okay. And when I was going to your website and trying to look at some films, I saw that some weren't online anymore. Are you also posting films online for a shorter period? Or
Yes. Our license arrangements are like that we only show each film for the period of 4 weeks. So it's a rather limited point of time, as I think. And I think that is also something which maybe can encourage filmmakers to show it on our website, because they don't give rights away for years and for all eternity. They only give it away as a movie, only for a limited period of time. And maybe that's also important for filmmakers to have this discussion, this decision. I give my film away to an online media, because that's what I've heard is always frightening filmmakers, giving rights away for a long period of time.
And Gerald, how do you feel, for instance, about online film festivals that are happening now more and more, which are like online for a week, having the film there, and then do you consider that the same as screening at a normal film festival, or is that also being online?
To be honest, we don't have so much experience with online film festivals so far. If there's coming requests from that part, we usually pass that over to the filmmakers. Okay. So I can't tell you a lot about experiences in that sense, but I think it's something which is growing, of course, because it's the whole system changing in the sense of digitalization, and why not? So it's just you're losing something. I mean, you can't compare with a festival like here, because one of the main keys of a festival is to meet the other people, to meet the filmmaker, to exchange directly. So I think, from a personal point of view, I'm a little bit hesitating with online festivals, because I mean you're watching a film and then you're giving a vote to whatever. Yeah. But it's not the same like what festivals offer usually.
Yeah, it's mainly about the experience which is lacking. Yeah. And Daniel, do you have any experience with that, online festivals? Because you're also doing submissions through Dazoo.
Yeah, I'm not sure what online festival is, because we have many premieres online, and we have selections which we usually present online, which we can consider as a festival, maybe. For a certain time, generating feedbacks and views, that can be a festival. But I completely agree that the real added value is just missing, because the festival is for meeting people, for building networks, and I don't really see the difference between normal online premiere and between an online festival. Of course, there can be an award, or there can be something which makes it more similar to a normal festival. But in general, I think it's good for certain festivals which who can use it as a promotional tool for the real event and for the brand, and it can be good for some filmmakers to have more viewers. But as a festival, it's just doesn't really make sense, in my opinion.
Are there maybe still questions from the audience at this point? If there are any revenues for the filmmakers through VOD?
Depending on the views the film generated through 30 days, and what that means in the whole complex of all the 30 films, we have like a viewing number, and then we can know what sort of money that film exactly generated. We take the VAT out of it, and then it's a 50-50 revenue share deal.
And
50
you
for
also
MUBI
buy
and 50 for the director.
But you also buy the rights beforehand, right? There's also
Sometimes, yeah, sure. You can't do like a revenue share deal for Lars von Trier film, yeah. But we try to have a balance between revenue share deals and license fee.
And Gerald, can you maybe say something about it?
Sorry, but
yeah.
we wouldn't pay like if you bring me one short, we cannot pay you like a license fee. It's you pay license fee to the big distributors or studios.
So we mainly work on revenue share with the platforms we're dealing with. But it's nothing which will make a filmmaker rich. So as I just mentioned before, the only platform which really brings something for filmmakers is MUBI. That's Peter Czerkasky, and but he cannot live with that. I mean, it's some kind of extra dinners during the year, maybe, if you combine it all together. So I think one of the main advantages for all these platforms, or to have short films on the platform, is to have them available after the festival circuit, because usually most of the films, they vanish again. I mean, some filmmakers, they put their films online, so they are somewhere in the YouTube universe, which can be found by chance, or maybe some make their way, but I think the main advantage is to have the films available after their festival circuit. So you can promote them as a filmmaker, you can use them for, if you make a new film, you can hint on your old films there, on yourself. I think that's one of the main things.
In general, I see that filmmakers aren't really, of course they are interested in making money with the films, and everybody wants this somehow, but it's not on the first place. They want to reach the next step. They want to make a feature. They want to create a portfolio. So shorts are not... it's quite difficult to handle short films as individual products, and it's also quite difficult to build brands in the world of short films, like because filmmakers tend to step to features as soon as it's possible. Of course, there is David O'Reilly and some other filmmakers who are quite well known and who can generate some revenues and functions as a brand. But general impression is not like this, and it's not always healthy, I would say, because everybody. So it's quite easy to say no and to say that okay, I'm gonna put the film online. I'm gonna do it without any salaries. I'm gonna do it for free. It's good for a while, but after a while, it's just not healthy for a professional way of thinking.
I think we have to wrap it up. So I want to thank everybody for being on the panel. I hope you all got something useful out of this. I think there were a lot of good things said, so I hope it can keep the discussion going about this topic. So thank you all.